Look, I need to tell you about the most ridiculous overreaction in dating history. Some people just can't handle feedback. You know, like, if you're going to put effort into something, at least make it worth talking about. I'm Carla. I'm 29, and I was with Isaac for 3.5 years. We'd been living together in his condo for about 2 years, and everything was fine. Not amazing, but fine. He had this whole steady thing going. Decent job in some tech-adjacent field, owned his place. Reliable car payments. The kind of guy your mom would approve of, which should have been my first red flag. Last month, he planned what he thought was some grand romantic gesture. Found this spot by the lake, packed homemade sandwiches, brought my favorite wine, even strung up these battery-powered fairy lights in the trees since we'd be there past sunset. He spent probably 4 hours setting everything up, which sounds sweet until you realize it's just a picnic. Like, congratulations. You figured out how to make sandwiches and carry a cooler. When he picked me up, I could tell he was all proud of himself, practically bouncing in his seat. We drove to this quiet spot, and yeah, it was pretty. The water, the trees, whatever. We ate, talked about work stuff, watched some ducks, standard date activities that literally anyone could plan. But here's the thing. I'd been thinking a lot about romance lately. Real romance. Not this basic stuff that feels like something you do with your friends. I'd been following this Pinterest board I made, just collecting ideas of what actual romantic gestures look like. Grand stuff, meaningful stuff. The kind of moments that make you feel special. Not like you're at a company picnic. And I'd been talking to this guy Dustin from work about it. Not talking. Just, you know how it is. He gets it. He actually listens when I explain how romance should make you feel like you're in a movie. Not like you're eating gas station sandwiches by a pond. Dustin's different. He has this energy, this understanding of what women actually want. When his girlfriend got that flash mob proposal at the mall, I showed Isaac the video, thinking maybe he'd get inspired. So we're sitting there as the sun starts setting, and it's nice enough, but I'm looking around thinking about all the missed opportunities. The fairy lights were cute, but they're just Amazon basics strung between branches. The wine was my favorite, but it's a $15 bottle from Target. Everything felt so predictable. So Isaac, that's when I said it. This is nice, I guess. I couldn't help the sigh that came out. It's just, why can't you be romantic like guys in movies? Like actual romance. Not this basic stuff anyone could do. His whole face changed. Basic. 4 hours of prep work is basic. You know what I mean? Like guys in movies? Grand gestures. Passion. Drama. Like when Noah hung from the Ferris wheel in The Notebook. Or the boombox scene in Say Anything. You're so predictable. Isaac, where's the excitement? The story worth telling our kids. And yeah, I mentioned kids because I've been thinking about our future, about what stories we'd have to tell. What would I say? Remember when your dad made sandwiches by a lake? That's not exactly fairy tale material. He went quiet after that, just started packing up the picnic in silence. The drive home was awkward, but I figured he was processing what I'd said. Sometimes you have to be direct with men. You know, they don't pick up on hints. That night, I showed him the Instagram post of Dustin's girlfriend getting that flash mob proposal. See, that's romantic? That's cinema-worthy. Isaac looked at me for a long moment. You're right. Let me be more cinematic. I smiled and kissed his cheek. Finally. He was getting it. I knew you'd understand. Babe, that was a Tuesday. By Friday, everything had changed, but not in the way I expected. Wednesday morning, I left my laptop open on the kitchen counter while I got ready for work. I had my Pinterest board up, romance goals for Isaac, with about 200 pins I'd been collecting. Helicopter rides over the city. Surprise trips to Paris. Elaborate treasure hunts ending in jewelry stores. One was literally recreating the Titanic flying scene on an actual ship. I'd been curating this collection for months, hoping he'd eventually see it and get inspired. I also sent him a TikTok that day of some guy who'd rented out an entire restaurant to propose. The caption I added was, "Some men just get it." Because they do, some guys understand that love is supposed to be extraordinary, not ordinary. Thursday. I could tell Isaac was being weird. Distant. He kept looking at his phone and typing, but when I asked who he was texting, he just said work stuff, which was suspicious because Isaac never brought work home. He was always complaining about how he tried to maintain boundaries between his job and personal life. I figured he was probably planning something. Finally taking my advice about stepping up his game. Maybe researching romantic ideas or booking something special. The thought made me excited. Maybe my feedback had finally gotten through to him. Friday afternoon, he took a personal day, which was unusual. Isaac never took random days off. When I asked him about it, he said he had some errands to run. I was at work, dealing with the usual office drama, texting Dustin about weekend plans. Nothing serious. Just friendly conversation about maybe grabbing coffee or seeing a movie. The kind of stuff Isaac never wanted to do anymore. I got home around 6:30, and immediately something felt wrong. The living room looked empty. The TV was gone. The coffee maker wasn't on the counter. Even the good cookware was missing from the kitchen. Isaac was sitting in my chair, the one piece of furniture that was actually mine, with his keys in his hand. Just sitting there, waiting. Babe, why is everything... Where's the TV? I'm giving you what you wanted. Carla, a cinematic moment. I laughed because it had to be a joke. What are you talking about? You wanted movie romance? But here's the thing about movies. The best ones are real. And the truth is, I'm tired of being told I'm not enough when I'm giving everything I have. That's when it hit me that he wasn't joking. Isaac, this is crazy. Over one comment. One comment. Carla, you've been comparing me to fictional characters for months. The Pinterest board really drove it home. Though, my stomach dropped. He'd seen my laptop. He'd seen my carefully curated collection of romantic inspiration. You went through my laptop. It was open on the kitchen counter. Hard to miss romance goals for Isaac in 72-point font. I felt heat creeping up my neck. Those pins were private. They were just ideas, inspiration for what our relationship could become. Those were just suggestions. 200 suggestions about how I'm not good enough. He stood up, walked toward the door. You want a movie moment? Here's one. Sometimes the guy realizes he's been cast as a supporting character in his own relationship, and sometimes he rewrites the ending. The sunset through the living room window was hitting him perfectly, all golden and dramatic, like an actual movie scene. And that's when I noticed his phone was propped up on something, pointing toward the window. Are you filming this? But he was already walking out. Just walked out, got in a U-Haul that was parked where his car usually was, and drove away as the sun set behind him. I ran to the window and watched the taillights disappear, my mouth hanging open. He'd taken everything. The shower curtain. For crying out loud? Who takes a shower curtain? I called him 18 times that first night. Straight to voicemail. Started texting, trying to make him see how ridiculous this was. This isn't funny anymore. Where's all your stuff? You took the shower curtain. The neighbor saw you with a U-Haul. What did you do? Isaac, answer me. You're being so immature. I can't believe you do this over constructive criticism. Baby, please come back. We can talk. But then I added, you know, Dustin means nothing, right? I don't know why I wrote that. Dustin and I were just friends. We talked about movies and life and how relationships should make you feel special. There was nothing inappropriate about our friendship. But something about Isaac's dramatic exit made me feel defensive about it. Saturday morning, my sister Haley showed up at his friend's place. I'd sent her because Isaac was being childish, ignoring my calls. But his friend wouldn't even let her in. Just said he's not here and shut the door. She waited 20 minutes, knocking, but nothing. That afternoon, I got a call from some property management company. Apparently, I'd tried to change the locks on the condo, which, okay, maybe I did. But I live there too. I receive mail there. I have rights. The locksmith asked for proof of ownership, and when I couldn't provide it, I explained that Isaac was being emotionally abusive, that I needed protection, basic safety measures. But the locksmith called the property company, who called Isaac, and suddenly everyone was treating me like I was the problem. Sunday is when I found the TikTok. Someone had posted Isaac's dramatic exit video. The sunset. Him walking out. Me running to the window with my mouth open. It had 800,000 views and climbing. The comments were brutal. She wanted the notebook but got the notes. I'm deceased at that sunset walk away though. Cinematography 10/10? Not him taking the shower curtain. I'm screaming. She wanted drama. She got drama? But the one that really got to me had 45,000 likes. Bro really said, you want a movie? Here's your ending credits. I tried damage control. Posted my own video explaining how Isaac had emotionally manipulated me, abandoned me without warning, weaponized social media against me. But someone in the comments posted screenshots of my Pinterest board, every single pin, captioned with stuff like, why can't Isaac think of this? And maybe if I show him enough examples. The comments on my video were even worse than his. People calling me entitled, demanding, saying I deserved what I got. I deleted it after 4 hours. But the screenshots were already everywhere. Monday morning, my mom called. Carla, honey, what happened? Isaac's video is all over my Facebook. I explained everything. The picnic, the comments, how he'd overreacted to simple feedback about improving our relationship, how he'd violated my privacy by looking at my laptop, then humiliated me publicly. Long silence. Then, that boy was good to you. Carla, Mom, you don't understand. No, I understand perfectly. You've been watching those ridiculous romance movies since you were 12. I told you real life isn't like that. Even my own mother was taking his side. I hung up and texted her, my own mother is taking your side. That afternoon, everything got worse. Sophia, my best friend, sent me screenshots. Apparently, she'd seen Isaac's TikTok and decided to spill everything about my friendship with Dustin. The screenshots showed months of text between Dustin and me. Nothing explicit, but definitely more emotional than I'd admitted to Isaac. Messages like, my boyfriend doesn't understand me like you do, and I wish Isaac was more like you. And Dustin sending good morning texts with heart emojis. The worst part, Dustin's elaborate flash mob proposal for his girlfriend happened the day after I'd sent him a long text about wishing someone would do something that special for me. He'd literally used my romantic fantasy to propose to another woman, and I was still texting him about it. I posted the screenshots on my story with Isaac wanted a plot twist, because if he was going to air our private business, I might as well show everyone what kind of person he really was, the kind who drove his girlfriend to seek emotional support elsewhere. But it backfired. Dustin's fiancé saw it, dumped him immediately, and posted her own TikTok throwing her ring in a lake with Beyoncé playing. That went viral too. I tried calling Isaac 67 times. He wouldn't answer. Tuesday? I went to his office. Security wouldn't let me in. Apparently, he'd warned them I might show up. I made a scene in the lobby, not intentionally, but I was frustrated and hurt and needed to talk to him. Someone filmed it. In the video, you can hear me saying he ruined my life over a Pinterest board. Some random guy in the lobby said, "Nah, you ruined it, wanting Hollywood instead of happiness." I turned on him. "Who are you?" Someone who saw his TikTok. Team Isaac. 3 people actually applauded. In a corporate lobby? It was humiliating. Wednesday. I hired a lawyer, a real lawyer, not some public defender. I wanted Isaac held accountable for emotional distress, for stealing shared property, for publicly humiliating me. He owed me $5,000 minimum. But my lawyer looked at everything. The receipts Isaac had for every item he took, the screenshots of my Pinterest board, the text with Dustin, and basically told me I had no case. Isaac owned the condo. He took his own belongings, and I'd been publicly criticizing him for months while emotionally cheating. Thursday, I started a GoFundMe. Help me rebuild after emotional abuse. I needed $10,000 to get back on my feet. Maybe rent my own place that was actually nice. The description explained how Isaac had left me homeless and taken everything we'd built together. It raised $47. From my mom, who commented, "This is for groceries. Get a job." The GoFundMe got reported and taken down within 6 hours. Friday was my breaking point. I called Isaac's work and reported him as emotionally unstable, posting revenge content online. The sunset video barely showed me, just a silhouette in a window, but it was still humiliating. His HR department investigated everything. The video, my Pinterest board, the Dustin texts. His boss actually told him the sunset shot was gorgeous and asked for photography tips. I was desperate. I found his dating profile on Hinge. He'd made one 3 days after leaving me and created fake profiles to match with him. I needed him to understand what he'd thrown away, how much he'd hurt me. This is what you wanted to replace me with. No one will ever love your mediocre picnic ass. I was trying to help you improve. Dustin treated me better than you ever did, but Hinge banned all my fake profiles and my IP address. Even dating apps were taking his side. Saturday morning at 7 a.m., my doorbell rang. I'd moved back to my parents' house temporarily, not because I had to, but because I needed emotional support during this difficult time. Isaac was there with a U-Haul and some guys, including Dustin. They were trying to move into the condo while I was staying there. "Open up, Carla. I'm moving back in. Carla, you never lived here legally. You were a guest. Please leave. I have tenant rights. I received mail here. You received Amazon packages? That doesn't make you a tenant. I have cameras showing you leaving with your belongings. You have no property here." Dustin tried to help. "Just let her get her stuff." "Man, what stuff? She has nothing here. This is illegal eviction. You can't evict someone who never legally lived here. Leave or I'm calling the police." They stayed for an hour. Isaac called the cops, who reviewed his documentation and told us to leave or face trespassing charges. The movers I'd hired from Craigslist were furious when they realized there was nothing to move. One of them called me crazy loud enough for Isaac's camera to pick up. It's been 3 months now. The video hit 2 million views. Someone submitted it to a film festival as a joke, and it won some Audience Choice Award. Isaac literally has a certificate saying his breakup was award-winning cinema. I reported him to the IRS for unreported TikTok income, but apparently he's not even in the creator fund. The IRS basically laughed at me. Dustin and I tried dating after his engagement ended, but it lasted 4 days. He called me exhaustingly high maintenance, which is rich coming from someone who used my romantic ideas for his own proposal. I had to move back with my parents permanently. Mom sends Isaac cookie recipes now with messages like, "Thought you should have nice things." She's basically adopted him in our breakup. My last attempt at contact was a handwritten letter explaining how he'd misunderstood my need for growth in our relationship, how his cruel public humiliation had forced me to re-evaluate my communication style. I didn't apologize. I had nothing to apologize for. But I tried to help him understand where I was coming from. He burned it in a fire pit and posted that video too. Burning Love by Elvis playing in the background. 500,000 views. Now he's dating someone new. Amanda? They met through his TikTok comments, where she said his picnic sounded lovely and no flash mobs were needed. Their first date was a picnic at the same spot by the lake. Look, maybe I could have communicated better. Maybe the Pinterest board was a little much. But I was trying to help our relationship grow, to push Isaac toward his potential. Some people just can't handle constructive feedback. I suppose they'd rather blow everything up than work on themselves. Isaac got his movie moment. He got his viral fame and his film festival award and his new girlfriend who's perfectly content with basic romance. Good for him, I guess. Some people are just satisfied with ordinary. Me, I'm focusing on myself now. Learning what I actually want in a partner, what I'm willing to accept. The next guy will understand from day one that I have standards. That I won't settle for gas station sandwiches and Amazon fairy lights when real romance exists. Isaac wanted to be cinematic. Fine, but every good movie has a sequel, and this story isn't over yet.